In today's video, we'll go over how to refill these small propane cartridges or cylinders safely and inexpensively. Make sure to stick around until the end, as I will give you a bonus tip on how to get these cylinders for free, therefore increasing your overall savings even further. But without further ado, let's give her. Hello YouTube land, I'm Eddie and welcome to the channel. This is Windy Therapy. This is where I share my bits and pieces about motorcycles, camping and some outdoor adventures. Before we start, I shall make a disclaimer. For the reasons that you will understand throughout this video, recharging these cylinders or cartridges is not a practice that would be recommended by gas companies nor retailers. Nevertheless, I'm confident that this process can be done safely as long as you follow some basic gas handling and storage safety precautions. Please note that I'm sharing how and why I decided to recharge my own cylinders. Therefore, proceed with your own risk or caution. Let's start by having a safety moment and highlight the main precautions that you need to follow if you decide to move forward. Number one, please do it outside the house. There are several reasons why you should do that, but mainly because the area needs to be well ventilated. There's a small amount of gas that will leak at the end of this process, but just hold on, you're gonna understand this a little bit better later on. 2. Please do not attempt to recharge a cylinder close to a fire source, such as a burning stove. Yes, I know, this is a logical safety precaution, but believe me, there are people out there eating Tide Pods and toothpaste, go figure. Number 3, please consider wearing a safety glass and gloves. By now, you might be surprised that you can actually recharge those small 1-pound propane cylinders, but perhaps even more puzzled why in the hell we should consider it. Well, that's why I'm here. Storytellers, palm readers, politicians, and those 1-800 psychics can lie or perhaps confuse you. However, math can't lie. Please keep in mind that the prices I'm about to share are in Canadian dollars. However, the math behind it would likely to be accurate in any other currency. So let me show you what I'm talking about. At my local hardware store, an exchangeable 20-pound propane tank is currently priced at $26.99. And just to make sure that we're all on the same page, an exchangeable tank means you need to bring an empty one to get a full one. So basically you are just paying for the gas and not the tank itself. At the same store, a 1-pound propane cylinder is priced at $10.48. So let's go back to elementary school, shall we? It is math time, folks. If we can use a full 20-pound of propane tank to recharge a 1-pound propane cylinder, it means that the cost of each cylinder will become about $1.35 instead $10.48. The other way around is if you buy 20 individual cylinders at $10.48, it will cost you a whopping $209.60. So if you're not sold yet, just check this picture and think for a moment. Okay, now that I got your attention, the question becomes, how do we do it? So let me show you what I'm talking about. In order to refill one of those small propane tanks, you need one of those little adapters. This one here is basically what I bought on Amazon. However, you can find at Walmart, Lowe's, Home Hardware, or any other similar store. The investment of buying this little adapter will be paid out before you even use it twice. Yes, 2 charges or recharges and the investment is fully amortized. There are 2 kinds of adapters because there are 2 kinds of valves. You can find one of the external thread and one of internal thread. So you need to see which tank you have to make sure you order the proper adapter. Generally speaking, most tanks nowadays come with the external thread. So odds are you're gonna need the same adapter that I'm using right now. And by the way, no worries, all the links for those 2 adapters will be listed on the description down below. But if you're still unsure, please hit me up in the comments area below or send me a DM using Instagram. Okay, let's get this party going, shall we? So before I start, I'm gonna do 2 different experiments. Some folks like to freeze the cartridge or cylinder before refilling because it's believed that if it's frozen, we might get more gas into it. And the other one is gonna be at room temperature. So I'll do both, and then at the end we can compare which one is going to get more gas and if the idea of freezing the cylinder is a good idea or not. Typically, all we need to do with the frozen cartridge is to place in the freezer for about half an hour, 1 hour maximum. Having said that, I have to confess that I put that stuff in the freezer yesterday and I forgot. So it's sitting there for at least 20 hours. So it is pretty safe to do so. Otherwise, people living in Alaska or Northwest Territories wouldn't have propane to keep themselves alive throughout the winter. So don't worry about freezing the cartridge. It's pretty safe to do so. The question is, does that make sense or not? So let me show you what I'm talking about. Let's give her. So what I've done, the one that's at ambient temperature, I just wrote ambient to make sure I don't get screwed up. And just to confirm, I'm gonna check the temperature. So the cartridge is at 36, my armor is 37, so I guess I'm still alive. So this is what that is. So this is the ambient one. So let's try this one first. And I also got a kitchen scale to allow us to see how much gas we're gonna get into it. Those propane tanks are manufactured pretty consistently, so the weight of each unit is pretty much the same, plus minus few ounces or grams, so it's not significant. So I'm just gonna check the weight right now. Let's do this. Just to keep everybody on the same page, 1 pound equates to 16 ounces, which equates to 454 grams. Right now it's showing 20 ounces, so I'm gonna take a picture to make sure I don't forget. Actually, I'm gonna make a video so we can all see the stuff at the same time. So now that we know what the weight is, 20 ounces, all it remains to do is to put the adapter, which pretty easy. It's like connecting any propane hose. So if you have a barbecue grill, you know what the deal is. So nice and tight, just hand tight is fine. Let me take the scale out of the way here. And let's just put this little cartridge into it. Make sure the valve is nice and closed before you do it. Again, hand tight is just enough. And what we're gonna do now is we're gonna flip the propane tank like so and open the valve. Can you hear? So you can tell that there's gas flowing into the tank. Just a little bit of physics, folks. Propane is a liquid gas under pressure. So all the pressure inside this tank is gonna push the liquid gas all the way down into the cartridge. So that's how it gets refilled. Now the question is, how much or how long do you need to wait? Well, I would say about 20 minutes or so. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna put a timer for 20 minutes, and we're going 20 minutes, and I'll come back, I'll check the weight, and then we're gonna take the frozen one and do the same process. So hang in tight, I'll be back in a jiff. I'm back. So right now I got exactly 20 minutes. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna see my time is just buzzing. 20 minutes exactly. So now we're gonna turn off the valve. Make sure you don't miss this step. So the valve is now closed. We're gonna flip back up, and we're gonna remove the cartridge. Now you're gonna realize what I said, you have to do it outside, because you're gonna hear a little whistling here, which is the gas escaping between the tank and the valve. And there you have it. Let's get the scale. Let's see how much gas we managed to get in. Right now, I got 5 ounces. So didn't get as much as I was hoping for. So I'm gonna just take a picture or a video here. 20.45. So way less than I was expecting with this tank at room temperature. So 30 seconds ago, I took the other one out of the freezer. So spent, like I said, the whole night in the freezer. The outside temperature shows 17 degrees Celsius, so it is much colder than the other one. And the weight of this one is basically 14.7 ounces. I'm gonna shoot a little video because otherwise I'll forget. So I'm gonna very quickly do the same process again, and we're gonna find out how much gas we're gonna get in, and perhaps see if it makes a difference. Maybe if I left a little bit longer than 20 minutes, could have been better, but I have to follow the same experiment to be fair. See, it's flowing right now, and we're gonna go again for another 20 minutes. Fire in a hole. Okay, I'll be back in 20 minutes and we're gonna compare. And we're back. Exactly 20 minutes after refilling this cartridge. So now the question is, does the frozen one works better or not? I don't know the answer. We're gonna find out together. So as before, first thing we do, close the tank. It's nice and tight. Gonna flip back up. And again, we're gonna get a little propane leakage here. And now is the $1 million question. Is it better or not? So let's get the scale going here again. Just to recap, the first one we got 5 ounces, which is not even half pound, it's more or less a third. And let's see how much gas did I get into this one. 30.5 ounces. Wow. From 30.3 ounces to 14.7, we got 15.6 ounces of gas into the tank, which equates to 0.975 pounds. So this one is pretty much full at its maximum capacity. Very, very good. So there you have it, my friends. The myth is complete or explained. The one that was ambient got a third of a pound. This one got 0.975, or pretty much a full 1 pound. So make sure you put in the freezer before you start the process. And now the next step for me is, as I'm going camping tomorrow, is put this one back in the freezer or into the freezer and restart the process again. And yes, you don't need to wait until the cartridge is empty to refill it. You can refill it at any time. As promised, here's the final tip on how to get free cylinders. 90% of the users don't recharge their empties. So often I find them beside campground, garbage areas or bins. People tend to leave them just beside the garbage bin. But most recently, I went to the city recycling depot where they have an area just for those 1-pounders. Due to liability issues, they will not recommend you to take them home. However, they have no objections if you do. I just recommend to look for the ones that look somewhat new and they're not all banked up, and those will work just fine. I hope this video was helpful, and if you like this video, please help me by giving a thumbs up, and if you like to hear more from me in the future, don't forget to subscribe on the lower right hand corner right here where the logo is. Thanks for your time, happy camping, and as always, be good, be safe, and let's keep the rubber side down. Ciao.